Hey everyone, I'm Chelsea from Build Book Support, and today we're going to go over a little bit about our financials. Financials are found within the projects, and they are a little bit different than the estimates or money that is coming from the estimates. Again, estimates are created in opportunities, and they can be converted over into a project, and the information that is in that estimate comes over here to the financials and specifically to the budget. But today we're just going to be going over a high level overview of financials, just so you can kind of get a clear picture of what the financial aspects look like within BuildBook. So to start, whenever you enter a project, if you want to click on anything that has to do with money for the project, you'll click on financials. And then in the financials, there's a couple of different tabs up here. So you have a summary, budget, bills and expenses, change orders, credits, and invoices. The summary is going to give you a quick snapshot of your total budget summary. So this is going to include things like your budget items, which are item costs, your markup. So if you have individual markup on any of your items, your selections. So this is anything in the budget that has a type of selections. So selections are actually worked within the selections tab right here, but they do hit the budget in a different way a little bit. And that's something that we'll go over when we look at the budget. You can add a management fee. So if you're not using markup like I'm not, but you want to use a management fee, you can do that instead. Taxes on the project are calculated here. And then this unassociated costs right here, this is any of bills or expenses that are not associated to line items or selection items. So for example, if you add a bill or expense and it goes to this project but doesn't really go to a budget item, you can actually just leave it unassociated, and that will pop up here in your costs. One thing that you don't see is you'll never see this cost in an estimated or price right here. And the reason is because this is a cost and not an actual price of the item. Finally, you'll have a subtotal here, and then you'll have in the price column, you'll have change orders and credits, a total price down here, and then as invoices are marked paid, they will show up here and reduce this balance remaining. Now at the top here, we're going to have a couple of different options. We'll have cost, estimated, and price as your columns. Cost is going to be any of the bills or expenses that you have added to the project and either assigned to line items in the budget, selections, or left those unassociated. Cost in our budget is not designed to do anything to this price. So you can add and individually track your costs, so things like bills and expenses on the project, but it is not designed to do anything with this price, add any type of markup, um, do anything with the management fee. It is just independently tracking what costs you have. And then you can take this total number and subtract it by this total number if you want to get a little bit of a clearer picture of what those costs are. Your estimated column is going to show you what the originally estimated price was. So if you pull your estimate or if you pull your budget over from an estimate, this will all populate. If you started your budget from scratch like I did, this doesn't usually populate for you. So it will show a little bit of a difference right here. The estimated column I like to use as my baseline. This is kind of how, like, the original amount that I would have estimated or had the client sign in their contract, knowing that there could be some differences along the way. And then finally, this is the price. This is the actual price in today's pricing. So you can go in and adjust pricing for your items whenever you complete selections and selection categories, or they go over the entire category. This will update the price here. And then finally, down here, you'll have change orders and credits. So you'll have a subtotal right here that shows you the total price of all of like the budget information. And then anything else added afterwards, like change orders and credits, will either add to the amount or subtract from the amount. And that's going to give you that total price right there. Within the budget, you're also going to have very much of the same columns. So again, you'll have cost, invoiced, estimated, and price. Now, the budget is really nice because it breaks down for you every single item that you would have had. And if you're using the category view, it's going to separate these out into your cost categories. So my cost category for this one is 1,000 preparation and preliminaries. And then from there, it's going to break everything else down by cost code right here. If I've added a bill or expense and I've assigned that to an item, you'll notice it here in the cost. And then the categories right here are going to total the costs that have been added to this entire category. So for example, I can show you down here, we have 2 items that have costs associated with them, and they are adding up, or sorry, we have 3 items, my apologies. They're adding up to the total number right here in the cost column. Invoice is going to show you any of the items that have been invoiced and how much you put on the invoice for. So for example, if I create an invoice for $100 for this particular line item, it will show up as $100 right here. This does not show you the remaining invoice number, but it will show you how much is actually on the invoice that you can kind of subtract from here. Again, your estimated column is the original pricing that you estimated to your client. I did not pull this over from an estimate, so I actually created all of these from scratch, in which case you'll notice that a lot of the estimated prices are 0 because I'm actually creating it from scratch and there wasn't really technically an estimate to begin with. And then finally, your price. This is the actual pricing of today's prices. And if you ever need to, you can go in and adjust pricing at any point in time. So you can click here on dumpster, you can open that, and then I can adjust the unit cost, I can adjust the quantity, I can adjust if this is taxed, anything I want to adjust, I can do it here. Additionally, within any of these items on your budget, you'll also have some little tabs so you can see what the cost is and what specific expense or bill is added to it. You can also add a bill or an expense right directly from the item. You can see if this has been invoiced and how much of it has been invoiced. This particular invoice is in draft right now. So if I click on this invoice and I switch it to open, we'll see that change just a little bit here. Now we'll see that we have invoiced $1,500 of this item. The reason why we don't show that for draft is because draft invoices are basically invoices that are being edited, or that are still being edited and they're not necessarily being pushed out quite yet. So we don't show you invoice for things that are draft. We only show open, paid, open and paid. And then the estimated is going to be, you can adjust this estimated cost at any point in time. So if you want to put in the exact same cost as the cost up here, you definitely can do that, or you can just absolutely delete this out, just like so. And then when you go back to your budget, this should automatically reduce to 0. Oh, just like so. Now, within your budget, you will have a couple of different things that can happen as well. In the top left corner, you have a category view or a spreadsheet view. So category view is really nice because it breaks everything down within your categories. But if you have a lot of adjustments that you need to make really, really quickly, you can switch to spreadsheet view. And this is how I like to make my adjustments super quickly. This is going to show you the actual price in today's pricing. So this is not going to be the estimated price. It'll be today's price. And you can go through and change anything that you need to in here. So if I need to go through and add a markup really quickly, I can go through and do that. If I wanted to delete a markup, I could go through and do that. If I wanted to really quickly go through and delete items, I can do that through here very quickly. It's just a really easy way to go through and adjust your pricing. If I need to tax items, I can click on my tax box right here. I can kind of do whatever I need to do within spreadsheet view. And then once I have all of my stuff done in spreadsheet view, I usually like to switch back to category view just to take a look at what this actually looks like within the categories. Now down here at the bottom, you'll always have a subtotal, and then you'll have your management fee. So we have a fixed fee or cost plus management fee, or no management fee if you don't use it. Usually people who use no management fee are doing individual markup on items and they don't want to do anything on the management fee. But you do have a cost plus percentage, so you can add a percentage to the total or the subtotal right here, and it will calculate based off of the subtotal. So if you're ever changing items in here, I need to change the pool and spa, I'm going to go ahead and update that a little bit. If you've chosen cost plus, if this price updates, this price will update because it's a percentage. I chose fixed fee. This is just a dollar amount that I can put in here that I'm thinking is going to be my overhead for this project. This fixed fee, because it's a fixed fee, it is not going to adjust as these items adjust. It will simply stay a fixed fee. And then finally, you can add in your estimated tax. So tax rates are actually done through the project, or not the project, done through your account settings. You can adjust tax rates, you can add tax rates, you can kind of combine tax rates if you want to. And then all you have to do is click on this drop down and you can choose any tax rate that you want to use or a do not tax, and it will remove tax from every single one of your items. In the top right corner, you're going to have add an item. So this is where you can add an item really quickly on the fly, or you can add an item from your price book as well. So you can just click on add item from price book and you can choose items that you would like to add. And then there's a client visibility. This is really important if you want to share certain aspects with your client about the budget, or if you want to not share some things. So we have a couple of different options for you. We have a detailed option and a summary option. Summary is going to kind of show like lump costs. It's basically you can still show the categories, you can still show the line items, but it's basically going to lump those costs. Whereas detailed is going to show a little bit more of the categories and everything else. And if you're ever curious about what the client's going to see, you can just click on see what client sees. And this is how the budget will look to them, depending on how you've set those different types of client visibilities. This is a little bit about what the summary looks like for you, just as an example. And that's the summary. You can change this at any point in time and just click on apply changes when you're done. And then finally, in the top right corner, you'll also have some export options. So you can either print the budget or export it as a CSV file. Printing the budget is really nice for clients if you have clients who are just not going to join BuildBook and you want to print out a budget for them. Export the budget is more for like your accounting. Banks like this particular format a little bit more that we've seen. So you have those different options here. Next, you have the bills and expenses tab, and this is where you can add any of your bills and expenses, so money that is going out on the project here. And this is going to track your total costs for the project. And again, you'll see those total costs here in the summary, as well as in the budget if they're associated to budget line items. You'll notice that anything that is an expense does not have a status as unpaid or paid, and that's because expenses are paid at the time of purchase. So these are items that you have gotten in hand or that you paid for with your company credit card. You had to run out and get those things. Bills are more of a reoccurring expense. These could be things like you're getting billed for labor on a project, you're getting a recurring bill for the electricity on the project, things like that. And then you can assign those as well, just like expenses, to any of the budget items, or just leave them completely unassigned. Additionally, in the top right corner here, you'll have a client visibility. So if you are using that cost plus model, a lot of our pros do need to share their bills and expenses with their clients. And in this case, we've added a little client visibility right here where you can click on bills and expenses so that your clients are able to see those costs on the project. If you don't want them to see that, you'll just unclick this box and hit apply changes so that they won't be able to see anything. In the top right corner and the bottom left corner, you'll be able to add bills or expenses here. And then as you add them, they will total in that summary. And as you add them to budget line items, they'll add up here in the budget as well. It would not be construction if things didn't change. So we do have change orders available for you. You can create change orders by clicking on the add change order in the top right corner. And then this is what our change orders look like. So automatically you're going to get a number assigned. You're not able to edit or change this number. You can title the change order. So what's changing, or what specifically do you want to change? The description. So I like to put in a description here because it actually does show up in the change order right underneath the title of the change order. So I can describe, like, this is a change order that needs to be, paid by a certain time, or things like that, just to keep me or keep things really visible for me. And then I can add items from my price book or create items from scratch and send these out to my clients. Now, change orders, once they're approved, they will show up on the budget and the budget summary. So once I go to the budget summary, you'll see that a change order is here, but you'll notice that the new change order that I created isn't there, even though it doesn't have a price. And the reason why is because it's not approved. Only approved change orders will show up on the budget summary right here. Credits are your discounts, so you are able to grant discounts to your clients, and you can add those through the credits tab. It's a really simple process. Just click on add credit, the reason for the credit, a date if you'd like, amount, and a description. Credits automatically get applied to the budget summary, and they reduce that subtotal, or they reduce that subtotal to create the final total for the project. And then finally, invoices. This is where you can create invoices to send to clients for payment. Now, although we don't take payment here in BuildBook, we do have several ways that you can easily add in a URL here. So they could add a payment URL that the clients can click on. You can send these to your clients at any point in time so that they can open them in their emails. They can see different types of information. And then within your invoices, you also have a quick metrics up here. So this is your original budget. This is how much is in drafts. Right now it says 0, even though I have things in drafts, and that's because my invoices are all 0 here. I can see how much has been invoiced and how much is outstanding. And based on the due date here, if something becomes overdue, it will show up here as well in the outstanding and in the overdue, but it'll be red right here. This will show you how much is paid, and this is showing you how much is remaining on the total of the project, even with open invoices. So anything that's outstanding right here is going to show up even in the remaining total right here. You can easily quickly add an invoice by clicking on Add Invoice in the top right corner or the bottom left-hand corner. So hopefully that shows you everything about financials. There is an in-depth tutorial for every single one of these in the financials within our help docs. So feel free to take a look at those, and happy building.